Hello, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
How are you?
How are you? I'm fine. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. So I'm here
Good.
with Murthel Groenhart, the Glory welterweight champion. Thank you so much
Thank you
for
so
taking the
much
time for us.
for us. You're welcome.
First thing I need to
First
ask,
thing, your name Akish, yeah?
Akhilesh.
Akhilesh.
Yes, sir.
How you doing, Akhilesh?
All good. All good. So you're
Good.
gonna fight on Glory 50
Yes.
against a very familiar opponent. We'll get to that very soon. Firstly, I have to ask you, how was your training camp been going up to the fight week?
Oh, everything was going good. I prepared hard as normally. Can't wait to step in the ring with hard Gregorian.
Right, and you train out of Mike's gym under Mike Pasinier, one of the legends in Dutch kickboxing. So how has it been for you training with some of the elite kickboxers, with some of the biggest names in the sport?
Oh, it's great. For me, it's normal. And I did this like I was 15 years old or something. I was training with the best, with Badr Hari. I was training with Melvin Manu. I was training with Yuri Mes, all fighters. You call them all great fighters. So for me, it's normal to compete myself with them. So it's great.
Right, and you have more than 90 professional fights, as you said. You've been competing for nearly 2 decades now. So I just wanted to get your thoughts on the journey that you've been on, in the past 2 decades and where you are now. Can you just elaborate on your journey till now?
Oh, definitely. 2016 was not so good year for me. I've been through a lot 2016 and 2017 also, but you know I just had to stay focused, and that's what I did. So 2017, I won all my 4 fights successful, to a knockout, and I was preparing myself for the championship belt. So that's what I did, and here I am being a champion now, 2018, and I can't wait to stay on the top.
Right, and as you said, 2017 was a very good year for you. You won the welterweight title as well. So, how has the entire experience been, and how was the feeling? Obviously, you've been K1 champion before, but just winning the Glory
Yeah.
welterweight title, how was the entire experience for you?
Oh, it's a great experience, man. 2012 K1 Max champion. What an experience! Great time. Now in 2018, 2017, being a welterweight champion from Glory, one of the best and promotion in the world at kickboxing. It's a great experience. Yeah, I love it to be on the top, and I just got to stay on the top.
Right,
It's
and just talking.
there. It's difficult to stay there. So and that's what that's next for me. Stay there on top.
Right now, talking about that, I wanted to talk a little bit about your upcoming fight against, as I said, a familiar opponent. You fought him last year. We're talking about obviously Gregorian. Did you think that you'd face him again so soon? Because you fought him in 2012, if I remember correctly, and then 2017. Did you think you'd fight him again so soon?
No, I didn't think that. I didn't thought it, but they want to give it to him because you won the welterweight tournament.
Right.
So normally after you won a welterweight tournament, you have to qualify again against another opponent, and then you can qualify for the welterweight title. But because how everything went when I knocked him down, for the fans, they want to give him the shot at the title. So it's no problem for me. Everybody they put against me, it's my work.
Right.
So for me.
Yes. So, as you said, certain things happened after the fight the last time around. So, going into this fight, are there any additional emotions for you, or is it just like any other fight for you?
No, definitely not. I think this is a little bit nervous because it's my first time that I defend my title. But emotional, definitely not. It's just a little nervous, but I will break through it. So everything will come at its place. I'm preparing hard for this fight, and I can't wait. I can't wait to be a Glory 50.
Right. And what does it mean for you? Obviously, winning title is one thing, but staying there for a considerable period of time is something else. So, what does this opportunity mean for you?
It means a lot because I want to be at the top. I am at the top, but I want to stay at the top. and I want to be a role model for lots of young people, like lots of young, uh, I want to be a role model. So it means a lot for me, and it feels like to prove myself against all the little kids who's hanging out at the streets, like I did when I was young, and to see for them that there's an opportunity when you believe in yourself, you know,
Yeah.
it means a
And
lot for me.
right, outstanding. And even after the last fight against Grigorian, you obviously had talked to him. You had some words that you both exchanged. Can you just dwell on what was said at that point? Obviously, afterwards, you both have said that there are no hard feelings whatsoever. But what was immediately said after the fight?
You mean after the fight or before the fight?
After the fight, immediately after the fight.
After the fight, he came to me and he told me, "Van Myrtle, don't stress for these people. You did good. If it was uh, if it was me, I would do the same thing. So you're a great fighter. You told me I'm a great fighter, and I hope you can fight, again against me. So and yeah, as we spoke to each other, and I asked him if I did something wrong because of his fans coming into the ring. I asked the promotion, and they told me you did nothing wrong. You just follow the rules. So and Grigorian Haru told me Myrtle, you did great, man. If it was me, I'd do the same thing. So
Right, and obviously, the fans did not understand what was happening at that point. You even told
no.
TMC after the fight that you received some death threats. So, how does that entire thing play in your mind when you're going into a fight against the same opponent?
Um, I don't care about those things. I just stay bulletproof, and I don't let those people come into my mind. I'm a champion now, and he wants to fight me again. It's all sports. So on to the next.
All right, outstanding. The other opponent that probably has his sights set on the title once again is Nicky Holzkin. Obviously, you've fought him before. Does that fight kind of seem like an unfinished business for you at this time?
Um, it's always be unfinished business because it doesn't went how I wanted to. How I wanted to it. So it's definitely unfinished business, but he has to prove himself now, like I did in
Right.
2016 and 2017, and I successfully won my fights. Now he lost two other fights in a row, so he has to prove himself again to fight against the champion. And now it's opposite. I'm the champion now, so yeah.
Right. And I have to ask you this because the kickboxing scene in India is still evolving, is still growing. But probably if we had to, look at one country where the kickboxing scene is predominant, has been predominant for years, is Dutch, is in Holland. So can you just dwell on the infrastructure, the kind of foundations that have been laid for kickboxers in Holland?
The gyms, you mean?
Yeah, the gyms, the kind of infrastructure, the foundations that have been already laid for the kickboxers. So, can you dwell a little on how the entire scope is?
I think it's the and all the young kids. Uh, we and yeah we and all the young kids in the neighborhood, and they train to be somebody, to be someone. So I think we all yeah, look to each other up, to help each other grow. So that's one of the important things. Help each other grow and getting better every day. So that's the most important thing. That's what we do in Holland, the kickboxing. We help each other. So that's important.
Right. And as we previously discussed, you have been in this sport for a long time. What do you think that still you have to achieve? That's been there for you that you still need to get out there.
Yeah, I've been in the sport like 15 years or something. I'm still hungry. I still wanted to beat the best. Now I am the best at my weight class. I want to get more titles. I want to get more titles. I got now. I took the title from the champ. Now my next motivation is to take more titles. More
Yeah.
titles than the current champ did. So the current champ got 5 or 6 titles.
Right.
I want to have more. So that's one of my motivations, So and definitely, I got a kid, a little kid. So that's also one of my big motivations,
And
the
how,
biggest.
right. And how difficult is it for you to kind of manage your training camps and your family? How do you divide the time?
Uh, you know, if you're a champ, you're a champ in everything. You're a champ in the training camp. You're a champ at home. There's all kind of things you have to set time free for for your fans. No, if you're a champ, you're a champ in everything. You can't
Right.
be only champ in one thing. So
All right.
so I
Fantastic.
kind of yeah.
Fantastic. And finally, the Indian fans are getting into glory, are getting now to see the kickboxing scene that is predominant in European countries and obviously the Americas. So, what can the fans expect come February 16th from you?
When I can expect it 2018 for me?
What can the fans
Oh,
expect from your fight on February 16th?
always they can expect always hard fights. I'm coming for knockouts. They always can expect something. So if the Indian fans are watching, don't blink.
All right,
Don't blink.
fantastic. Fantastic. That's what we wanted to hear. So, thank you once again, Murdo. It's obviously a pleasure, and I'll catch up with you again after the fight.
Definitely, definitely. Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much,
you very.
sir. Take care.
Take care. Bye
Bye.
bye.
So firstly, thank you for joining us. I have to ask you, how have the past few days been for you?
It's been good, man. It was an exciting fight, and that's the kind of show I've been wanting to show that I can do. He's a talented guy, man. It didn't go my way. It caught me good at the end, but we went out there and gave a good performance, and that's the kind of style that I've been wanting to bring, where it's more just a fight. It's more kind of pure. It's so worried about points. Just get after it and throw.
Right, and a lot of people have taken to internet, and there have been a lot of good things being said about you and Lawrence Larkin, and just the way in which you went out there to fight. So just looking back at the fight, what are your reactions? Just after a couple of days.
There's a couple things that I could have did a little different. Where I felt I would have been able to catch him, and but yeah, it's just man, it was a great fight, man. It was just a matter of inches, a couple of those things. It could have gone the other way, where I land that shot and he's the one stumbling backwards. So up until then, it was an exciting fight, and I wanted to give the pressure, and make him fight me. And he did, man. They had a good game plan themselves, and made for an exciting fight, And he landed the shot, so I get him on the next one.
Right, and you connected with a lot of left hooks. It looked like Lawrence Larkin was kind of leaving himself open. Did it kind of feel that way for, to you until that final few minutes in the third round?
I just kind of I target anything that I see is open. It's one of the things that I noticed with him. He's open. Um, in other fights too, but a lot of it was more just trying to slow him down, kick him to the body. Um, a lot of the stuff that he was landing was I was blocking the majority of it. Um, some really clean ones got through and it caught me, but yeah, it wasn't really more until the third, until that last where I actually felt like an actual like daze and stuff like that. Up until then, I thought I was controlling the fight and I was pressing the fight. So yeah, that last 30 seconds, those last 30 seconds, I think I would have came out with victory just from the pressure. But hey, it is what it is, and I was happy with either way, just because the way it ended. I was all right with it. And I was like, if they give it to me, awesome. If they give it to him, that's fine.
Right, and you were coming off two big victories, obviously against Gertz and Ward. Um, what do you think is next for you? Because Bellator is going through this very interesting transition where you have a lot of welterweights coming in. You have a new welterweight champion itself in the division. So what do you think about what's next for you in the division?
Um, I mean, there's still a lot of good names to fight. For me, like the gimmick of chasing a title, if they give it to me, perfect. But that's because I've beaten everybody. I could have gotten the title shot by now. So they're just keep putting good guys in front of me. That's all I want. For me, I'm 34 years old, so I got maybe 6 years left of putting on good fights. And just give me a name. The name's the title for me. So Lawrence Larkin, that was a great fight, and so anybody that's got a name and I can go out there and put on that kind of performance, and that's what I want next.
Right, and you said you're 34, but you've been fighting for what, 15, 14 years now. So I just
Cool.
wanted to, yeah, I just wanted to talk to you about your career because you started when you were 19. You got into mixed martial arts at a very young age. So just looking back at your career, what do you make of where you are now and your journey itself?
Um, it's difficult to say because if you're not in a big company, then it's hard to say what I'm about to say. But for me, the change once I did come into Bellator was like I went through all the I fought for big companies and then fell off because the nerves were too much. I wasn't ready for the fight. I wasn't prepared. It was on short notice. One, always try to stay ready. Always try to stay ready. Because if you're that guy, if you're the journeyman like myself, you're always gonna get the short notice fight,
Right,
and they're gonna automatically assume you to lose because you're only taking it on 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
right,
They have guys at the favor. So if you're the journeyman fighter, stay ready. Always be ready. So that way, when that opportunity comes, you can surprise them. And that's how I made my career. I was one of the ways that I did it. We're from a good team, but it's like they have guys that they want to push and then guys that they don't. So sometimes you get the short end of the stick. So you got to be smart, and just always try to stay ready for a fight, and there's difference of training and then getting ready for a fight. So
right.
be fight, and uh, you know, now that I've been here, ever since going through all that stuff, it's not like I say. I'm not chasing the title. I'm chasing the names. The guys that have like a Rory McDonald, a Douglas Lima, um, Andre Korshkov,
Right.
and these guys are being tough guys, and have made a name for themselves. So for me, that's who I want to fight next. And that's who I would. It's going to be an honor. One, we're going to put on a good ass show like me and Lorenz did. I know that we're going to do that. So in this fight, I even said it's going to be really a matter of who makes the least mistakes, and he did on this one. So at this level, you just whoever makes the least mistakes is going to probably win the fight.
Right, absolutely. And even in Bellator, you have a wonderful record. You're just two losses, one against obviously Larkin this past weekend, the other was against MVP. Um, do you think there is that unfinished business with MVP for you?
Yeah, I don't think he'd want to fight me though right away, to be honest. But no, the thing is with him, the distance of time too. So like I had a 9 month layoff for that fight, and they stretched me out. So I wanted to get a fight in between, and they're like, no, you're gonna have to wait until he's. I guess when he just fought Santos, he wanted to recover another like 4 months, and I was like, I've already been waiting. Like, give me a fight, and then I'll fight him again.
Right.
So they're like, no, that's the fight that's gotta be made. So they stretched me out 9 months. Like I didn't feel like, oh, I'm afraid. It's not ring rust in that way. It was more when I went to throw my combination, my timing was off.
Right.
So then I was all right. The first round I had to circle and get moving, and I basically stayed just in front of his punches where it forced him to jab, but he would not commit. He wouldn't commit to come in.
Right.
So by the second round, I was like, all right, I'm comfortable, I'm ready. Started pressing forward, and then by the third, I had him completely running from me. But yeah, the first round kind of bothered me just because of I had to stay away more to get my timing,
Right.
and that kind of hurt me in the fight. And I think I would have did enough damage with that first round to not let him be able to run from me. So if I get him again, it's definitely gonna be a funner fight since I'm seasoned.
Right. So as a fighter, you had two completely different opposite fights with Larkin and MVP. Do you think that point fighting, going to the judges, the decisions kind of fights, uh, as a fighter, would you go for that, or would you want a more explosive, a more engaging fight like you had with Larkin?
Almost all my fights are that way. If you notice, I stand right in front of you.
Right.
I don't. I'm not really all the way in. Sometimes you have to be with some certain fighters, but for the most part, I stand right in front of you and make you fight me. If I'm in front of you, you're gonna want to throw.
Right.
So I did the same with MVP. MVP had a longer reach, so of course I kept more distance, but it was the same pressure. It was still making him fight, and they were saying how I always have to rush in and do a takedown. I'm a striker, he's a striker, I'm a striker. We're testing our striking skill. It's MMA. Eventually, if I need a takedown, I'll try to go for it. I rarely like to because I like to strike, and I feel it's almost, and this fight was like, who's going to do a takedown first, and it wasn't going to be me. So, it just made for a funner fight. I just knew that just the way they were marketing the things that were going on behind the scenes, um, I was not going to get a win by decision. I was going to need to knock him out to get the win. So that's what I went out there to do, and it just made for a funner fight.
Right. And I also got to ask you this. After the fight, what do you do to wind down? Obviously, you're a family man. Um, what do you do in the days, like after a fight with Larkin? What are the things that you do in the days after the fight just to unwind?
Well, I was just, I'm with my family, so a lot of times they're kind of, I keep my distance because I'm I'm focused on the fight, So just got to spend some time with them on Saturday, and then Sunday was my grandma's birthday, so we all met up there. Or sorry, no, yeah, Saturday we met up at my grandma's. So right after the fight, we met up at my grandma's and celebrated her birthday, her 86th birthday. So yeah, it was nice. It was cool, and we were all just hanging out, and so yeah, it was a bunch of family. It was cool.
All right. Now you've fought 42 times in your pro career. Just looking back at the 14 years, what are the things that you would have done differently if you could at this point?
Well, it's an evolution because the thing is, you're learning different styles. So you're gonna have coaches, right? You're gonna have guys that are learning. You're learning from, but um, at some point, once you learn your boxing, your kickboxing, and you've learned all these tools, the only difference is like right now, it's like unless you have a direct MMA coach who's actually fought MMA, it's hard to say. There's certain things that you can't do in certain styles, but you're learning how to blend them, and then you're making it happen in an MMA fight.
Right.
So it's like some of the technique is kind of has to be molded for MMA,
Right.
So once you get to that point and you feel comfortable with your game planning, you should really start game planning for yourself.
Right.
Because when you're in the fight, you have to be able to make the decision on how you're going to do certain things. Because, if I just fight a boxing stance, I'm going to get leg kicked like crazy, or a takedown's easier. So then I go back to more a kickboxing stance, which you're more open down in the middle for boxing, So it's like different things that you can kind of pick and choose and do. But once you learn these styles, you kind of have to be able to be okay to make the decisions yourself. This is how I do things, and go out there and implement it, because you'll start to run into trouble. Like, no, this is my style. This is the way you got to do it. And once it's a lot different when you're fighting MMA. So once you've learned those techniques, you got to make the decision for yourself, and you'll be able to have a funner fight. You know, you're not just focusing on doing one certain thing. There's certain things in this fight that I wanted to do, and once we were fighting, I was like, oh, I can't do that no more. You know, so it's just, you know, you have to be able to make those changes in the fight on your own. You know, you have to have the knowledge to know that it's your game plan, and you can change it up. You know, if you're always going off somebody else's, you know, you're more likely to lose, and you have only but an excuse. You know,
Right.
this is get it done differently.
Right. And in your career, you have taken fights within a short span. And as you said, the fight before MVP was 9 months before. So, do you have any idea as to what your next fight is or when it's going to be?
No, to be honest, just with the style that we put on, and I showed that what my style is. You know, like it doesn't matter how good of a striker he is, I can match it. If you know, it's a good game plan. It just he connected first with a really good shot at the end. You know, but everything else was me pressuring and making him get tired and landing those body shots. So I think I give enough of a showing where people are going to want to see me compete more and more. You know, I bring the fight, you know, and wherever it ends up, you're gonna get hit, and you're gonna get hit a lot, you know. So, um, you know, whoever they give me next I'm sure it'll be somebody exciting. So, uh, I'm ready to give you guys another show as soon as we're up and ready.
All right, awesome. So Bellator 193 is the only second card that was telecasted live in India. 192 was the first. So a lot of the Indian fans got the opportunity, thankfully, to see you and Lakin put on a wonderful show. So do you have any message for the Indian fans? Because now finally we can see Bellator on our TV sets.
Well, just hey, thank you guys for being fans, and I'm looking forward to putting on another great fight for you guys as soon as they put me up here. I'm always going out there to give a show, and sometimes I win, sometimes I lose, but I'm always coming out there to fight.
All right, fantastic. So we'll catch up with you again soon. And again, all the very best for your future. I'm pretty sure you're gonna get another fantastic fight coming soon. So we'll catch up with you again then. And thank you once again for taking the time for us.
No, no, thank you. Appreciate
Thank you,
it.
sir. Have a good day.
You too.